Hi, this is Danielle Spencer. Welcome again to the Whistleblower Experience with Danielle Spencer. I want to do a follow-up video to the video I did last week, asking the question if the Handmaid's Tale story was becoming a reality in America. And during that video, I gave the example of a desire to institute a nationwide abortion ban. And what I wanted to clarify or really talk about, I'm not talking about whether you're for or against abortion. That has nothing to do with it. Even if you're someone who wants an abortion ban in place. The question or the concern that I'm raising is how would something like that be instituted without violating people's privacy, especially women? So I'm really going to focus on your women's rights, or a woman's right to privacy. My opinion, based on my experience, and especially experience in the medical field, to be able to enforce something like that, you kind of have to know a lot of a woman's or female's medical history and even some of their behavioral information, and especially gynecological information, such as, when they may have had a period, when it happened, and that type of information. Um, my concern, and I think a concern should be for anybody, because if that could be instituted, just for that, it would and will go to other things, is having someone who's not my doctor, being able to look at my medical history just to make sure that they can enforce something like that. And what my concern would be is that you would have these individuals who feel that women shouldn't have certain rights, or feel that women are evil, or feminists are evil, or that women shouldn't be able to uh, perform or conduct themselves in a certain way, and saying that they're trying to enforce a certain moral code, especially on women. And I believe that my experience being vetted for a job kind of, I don't want to say proves, or what supports my concern that that is what could happen. And that's what I wanted to kind of show today, or talk about today, is that anyone who has that concern, me included, we're not being paranoid, because I can show you with written proof that that certain individuals are trying to collect information to determine if I am or was of a good moral character. That's the term that they use. And so one of the things that, like I stated before, one of the questions was if there was someone who knew anything embarrassing about me of a sexual nature. Another question that was asked was about the financial status of my family, and if any one of them was bribable. Because I think if they aren't able to get, whoever these individuals are, if they aren't able to get the information that they're looking for to say that you don't have moral character, they'll find someone that they can bribe to give them information that is not truthful. But staying on that good moral character, you know, after those questions were asked about me, and from my references, I filed a complaint. And so there was an investigation that was done, and I'm going to show you um, like something that was documented during that investigation. One of the things that they said was that I couldn't find any sections of the SF-80P or the SF-80PPS that correlates. In other words, those forms don't ask about sexual behavior or sexual conduct. And so they couldn't find it in the form. So they said, well, it's the investigator trying to establish that the applicant is of good moral character. Think I'm joking? Here it is. Again, this is during a federal government process. So some bureaucrat was trying to find out if, or determine if I were of good moral character, using questions and criteria that was not on the officially approved government form. So, the questions that I would have and continue to have: how many men were asked those questions? How many married people were asked those questions? And how many of those people, what was the ethnic or racial um, uh, makeup of people who were asked those questions? And what is the criteria for someone to be determined of good moral character? If it's not on the forms, how is that determined? Those are the things that I believe that Americans, U.S. citizens, we really need to understand, and especially women. There's an election coming up. The person that you want to support, do they support the rule of law? Because if it's not in law now and they're trying to enforce it, is that really someone that you want in position of power? And what are they going to do when they get it? Those, as I go on and as we get, the election season, I'm going to pay and really start talking about that, because I think this is vital, and that people need to understand. That Handmaid's Tale, it can become a reality here in America. And like I said, I'm going to focus on women. Women, we can go back to a time where we had no rights, where we weren't allowed to work, not allowed to have our own money. I've never lived through that time, and I definitely don't want to go back. And any female that I know, I believe that they should have a choice. If that you want to choose to live that way, that's great. You can. But I don't want your choice to override mine. That I want to have a career, and mine is in information technology. And I want to have my own money and be able to say what I do with my own money, not the government and not someone else. Again, thank you for joining or listening to the video and being a part of the Whistleblower experience with Danielle.